Hello and welcome back to week number 2 of the football season, sort of. But week 2 for this, I'm going to call it a podcast, even though it's not really this sort of football chatter. Dave's here again.
Hello.
Unfortunately. So, obviously this week we took on, as Stoke City took on, I say we are, I'm not affiliated with Stoke, but we took on Brentford at the Bet365 Stadium. Home clash, the first of the season. First of 23 home games, long games to come, a lot of games. It's I have to sort of rely on Dave on this because I actually missed the game. I was away.
Yes, you did.
So I've not seen any action from it apart from a behind the goal view of Benicophobe's finish from 14 centimetres. So as far as I could tell, we were lucky to take the lead and then lucky not to concede more than one. So
extremely,
we can only be pleased with it, I suppose, on that, but then very disappointing given the or equally disappointing start at Allen Road the week prior. What happened in the game? I mean, talk me through.
Brentford, first of all, were very, very good. They passed it around lovely. They made some mistakes with it, but they are a passing team. You can see what Dean Smith's doing with them. And their goal, if you haven't seen it, you should watch it. It's I saw Sakarian talk about it on Twitter, saying Brentford went full Barcelona here. It actually was a brilliant goal, but from a defensive point of view, it was not good. But basically, we started poorly. We struggled to get any kind of rhythm to our game, and Brentford just kept pounding in. They should have scored at least a couple before the joke goal, as I will call it, the complete disaster of a goal from their point of view. But it was good chasing by Benicophobe, but it was very fortunate.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose if there is a consolation, it is the fact that we Stoke City. I keep saying we. I'll continue to say we. We did not play well. But still managed to achieve something against the team that had ripped apart Rotherham, albeit only Rotherham, no disrespect to Rotherham, the week prior. So there is a little bit of a small consolation in the fact that we were able to hold one of the better teams. We could have.
We could have easily lost it, but we didn't, and that has to be. It's definitely a point gained rather than 2 lost.
Yeah. I mean, the fact is, Stoke should probably be sitting on 0 points after 2 games, which, given pre-season favourites to take the title, to take promotion, that's obviously not the case anymore. Leeds United now installed as favourites after hammering Derby by 4 goals to 1.
That's very premature, I think. But we'll see.
I mean, the bookmakers have seen it all before. They know what they're doing, but it's a long season. It's a long season, and in 3 months' time, I've talked about it with people, other Stoke fans at work. The key is, it is going to take some time. The Stoke mentality at the moment, and it affects the crowd because it's in the crowd, is a fear of failure, and the team and the fans expect failure, and not just at the end of the game, but during the game. They expect every time certain players get the ball, they expect a mistake, they expect poor play, and it just it's taken a hold of every player in red and white and every fan in the stands as well, as far as I can tell, and it's warranted because Stoke haven't played well for pretty much nigh on 2 years now.
Yeah, it's been odd moments, it's been odd games. Man United at home last year, sort of.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
But in general,
it's a conundrum.
We've not had an extended run of good form for a long time.
It's a conundrum because the team is largely the same as last year, and
that might be the problem.
I've suggested that that we perhaps needed more of a clear out. Obviously, we're still we still have the potential to move players out, albeit on loan or sales abroad. Do we have players that foreign teams want? Probably a few. Do we want more money than teams are probably prepared to give us, almost definitely.
Yeah.
So,
and we're still by and large paying Premier League wages, which obviously limits the.
oh yeah, there's no doubt our
the
wage bill has gone up
teams.
massively since relegation, which is a strange thing. I know most players have had relegation release clauses affected, but a lot of players have signed new contracts. Joe Allen, for example, that essentially will just move his money back to what it was. That's the only thing you can take away from it. And Joe Allen hasn't had a good start to the season. Is he justifying his wage? No, he isn't at the moment. But then again, no one in a Stoke shirt is justifying the wages at present. But there's a long way to go. But the key point is when Stoke finally start to gel and start to click, which will happen. I'm convinced of it.
Yes, I am the same. I think it will definitely. It has to get better, and it will get better.
I'm sure
Barrett
it will.
make his mark on the team, and at that point,
the team is too good. The players that Stoke have are too good, and they are, on paper, the best equipped side in the division to achieve promotion. There's no doubt. But the point is, if it takes 3 months to actually click,
we're out of it then, aren't we? Yeah, we're out of it already.
You're facing a really tough challenge to make the top 8. Never mind achieve promotion. It's probably too long, so they need to get it into place now, and they need to start this next week, or rather tomorrow, against Preston, live on TV, 5:30. Don't watch the Arsenal game, no one likes that one. Watch the Stoke game. Stoke Preston, it's again, I'm not going. I wish I was now. I thought we'd actually sold out, but I think there are some tickets left.
Over 3,000 game, which I think is a good effort for a TV game. On
it is, and
start we've had.
It's a club I've got a bit of a begrudging admiration for in Preston. They've got a couple of they've got Paul Gallagher, who I remember watching,
of course,
nearly 15 years ago, play on loan for Stoke, and a bit of a hero of mine, Gally. So it's going to be a good game, I think. Preston are decent. Stoke should be decent, and Stoke will be desperate for points. I think the typical Stoke start for me, and the typical dull start that indicates a bit of a team with very little confidence, is to go 3 games into a new season and have one win, 1 draw, 1 defeat.
Yes,
it doesn't blow anyone away, and it's just it's just 4 points, but that'll be fine. I
think it's quite a big week though. So we've got 3 games in a week now. We've got Preston, Wigan, and then Hull the following Saturday. I think it's going to be a fairly not pivotal, because it's way too early, but it will really shape how the fans view the season.
It's important
this next week.
And it's early in a 46 game season, but failure to pick up any points against Preston puts an awful lot of pressure on that game against Wigan. Suddenly becomes a must-win in Game 4, in my opinion, because otherwise, if they lose to Preston, which is possible, and then maybe only manage a draw against Wigan, 2 points from 12, no real fluency on the football field. There's still talk of new signings, which we may as well move on to that. Obviously, today Cuco Martina has signed on loan from Everton. I don't think it's with a view to a permanent deal.
No, there's no mention of that. He signed for the season, hasn't he, on loan?
Yeah, and still waiting clearance to whether or not he can be included tomorrow. I don't think.
Apparently, he can.
He can. So I think the deadline is midday. Stoke announced the deal online through Twitter and all the other formats that they do around 1 o'clock, I think. So they probably submitted the paperwork around midday and did everything else. But obviously that's another player in, and yet no one has gone out. We're still standing after a relegation season, having lost. We've let a few contracts expire in Glenn Johnson, Steve Ireland, but otherwise it's just Yurden Shaqiri, and we've got
Ramadan.
I suppose, but we bought in Tom Ince. So that was a straight swap, wasn't it? Really.
In the end, it ended up being
and we've got Huddersfield in the Carabao. So
interest.
He'll be back maybe if he's not injured. But it's important that we get players out. So Bojan's on the screen again, and he started against Brentford, and I think he got a little bit of praise from Rarrett, but he did admit that he did seem to fade from the game.
Yeah, I mean the whole team wasn't great. It's difficult to single out any player, particularly someone like Bojan who needs plenty of possession to make use of his technical ability, and he just didn't have it. But when he did get the ball, he did what Bojan does. He looked to link up the play. He tried to get out wide and get an overload on that side within so McLean. A lot of it didn't really come off, but he was bright and he was busy. I did understand the change. I've seen a lot of criticism for Rowett for that change, how it was a defensive change, but I think at that point we were still winning 1-0 somehow, and maybe thinking that we could press the ball a little bit better with Etebo rather than Bojan.
Yeah.
Obviously, they scored immediately after that, and it didn't. It never looks good when that happens, but I understand the change.
Okay. Well, I mean, he's probably on the list of players that could leave.
Yes.
Whether or not that's a good idea or not, who knows? The key for me is just moving out. But whether Bojan stays or goes is sort of immaterial. It's the other players that need to move. We're talking Charlie Adam. We're talking Maxim Choupo-Moting. We're talking Jeff Cameron. Lots of
honestly.
If we apparently turned down £15 million from Leicester, which is a lot of money for.
I can't believe that.
An aging striker. I can't imagine that's the case, but surely we're at a point where we'd entertain any reasonable bid.
I would think 5 or 6 would probably do it, honestly.
I'd even go to 3 or 4. I mean, he's worth that, no doubt. 5, 6, but is he a player we want around? He's not. I don't. Did he come on against?
He hasn't played at all.
So he hasn't played a minute, but we're allegedly turning down £15 million bids. So, and given he's a player that we picked up on a free, and his goal record's never been amazing, and we haven't used him in 2 championship games that we've failed to win.
Yeah, we've made attacking substitutions. It's been Crouch who's come on rather than him, so he's clearly not. He's not even
clearly not in the plans. And then of course we've got Berahino, who does seem to be behind him in the pecking order. Berahino, of course, didn't make the bench for registration reasons, we understand, but against Leeds, but then was on the bench against Preston.
Yeah,
and didn't make the field. So, we've got a lot of forwards, and the talk again is that we want more forwards coming in the window, and I probably see the need for that. We need a. We've got Benick, who's managed to score 2 in 2. Well played to him because he's had nothing to work with. McLean and Ince seem okay. Ince seems full of enthusiasm. McLean.
I like it. I think
he's a powerful runner, but again, I think he puts crosses in without looking. So he'll hit his man probably 4, 5, 6 times a season, which is reflected in his assist record.
Yep.
He's not measuring his crosses. He's not aiming his crosses. He's just sort of putting him in, and the goalkeeper's just going to chew a lot of them up for him. But he's better than what we had before, which was no one.
He definitely puts in a shift defensively. That's one thing you can say. He was very, very, very good on the cover for Peters against Brentford.
Well, that's the point, isn't it? I'm not going to pretend otherwise. Eric Peters is pretty poor going both directions, especially going forward. He doesn't link anywhere at all. His passing and crossing is shambolic at best. So hopefully Kuko, I know he's typically a right-sided fullback, but he played left back for Everton last year, and he did allegedly two-footed. So hopefully he can come in and we give Peters something to think about, because Josh Tyman's clearly not ready. He's back in the under 21, the under 23 squad. So I think ideally you'd see another loan move for Josh, maybe to League One quality. I'd quite like to see him go to Sunderland or something, a big club with an expectant fan base, and that's sort of what we are now, is a big club in a smaller division that the fans are expecting a lot. So there's a few similarities. Hopefully that's where the similarities will end this year, as we don't want to double dip.
Indeed.
So that's the prospects. Obviously a couple of weeks left of the window. Premier League clubs will only be selling, so there's not really much point in discussing those moves. Obviously the gossip you'll have all had an opinion on. The predictions that we had last week, They're on the screen for Saturday, so it was, I had victory snatched from my fingertips by Jamie Vardy's fortuitous goal at Old Trafford. For so long, I thought it was nailed
Brilliant
on
goal, I thought.
for 2-0. Equally so, very close with the Watford score, but you managed to pick up a few correct scores at Chelsea and Everton.
I actually had an awful day apart from getting 2 results bang on.
Yeah, I mean,
Basically.
I got the result right for Bournemouth and Watford, but other than that, it was pretty tough. I expected more from Fulham. I'm sure they did themselves. I think that indicates a long season for Fulham at home. 2-0 defeat to Palace.
Yeah. But I saw the highlights, and Fulham were a little bit unlucky a few times, I thought. But yeah, again, losing 2-0 home to Palace is not a great.
Yeah, the Roy Hodgson derby.
indication.
There you go. And there's Sunday, so West Ham had a baptism of fire. Too many new
Liverpool.
players and looked awful as far as I could tell. I haven't seen any games, so I'm bringing you all this football knowledge. And
I did watch it, and yes, they were. Well, Liverpool were very, very good, as you'd expect at Anfield. But yeah, West Ham made it far, far too easy for them.
yeah,
Playing a high line against Salah and Firmino and Mane was just suicide. It was just every time Liverpool came forward, you thought something was going to happen, and 4 times it did.
So yeah, predictably as well, Manchester City comfortably taking Arsenal to the cleaners, and so I pick up 4 points. It says 8 on the screen, but it should be 9 for Dave. So an early lead, but it's as with Stoke, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And week 2 scores. Obviously, we've got the Stoke game. That's the tea time kickoff in the Championship. I don't think there's any other games going on apart from that one. Really, it's just Stoke Preston.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
What's your thoughts on the score?
I think we'll win. I think a 2-1 away win. Narrow, but I think we'll bounce back, and hopefully Robert's words will have had an impact this week.
Okay, I think it's difficult because Stoke are a scalp, and for a lot of clubs, it's one of the biggest games of the season to bring to Stoke. Take on Stoke. Stoke travelling in huge numbers with a lot of very expensive players. 20 years ago, we are the Man United of the Championship of the First Division at this point. We're just
strange to say,
the Harlem Globetrotters without the talent. But so it is a difficult one, and I think it'll be a draw. Regretfully, I'd like to see us win. It wouldn't surprise me if we won, but I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw, and I think we'll be made to wait a little bit longer for our first victory.
I wouldn't mind a point, but I do think we'll grind it out one way or another.
Yeah. Okay. Well, on to the Premier League then. So early kickoff Saturday lunchtime. Cardiff against Newcastle.
Exciting.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
I think it'll be very exciting. 1-0 to Newcastle.
Okay. I'm going to go for a 2-0 Cardiff win. I think first game at home. I don't think they'll get many wins this season, but I think this will be one of them because they're playing Newcastle at a very good time. I think it'll be, they'll do okay, and I think they'll score early, and I think they'll score late. But Newcastle will have all the play in between. But 2-0 for me. Everton Southampton then.
I think it'll be a fairly big win for Everton. I think 3-0 Everton.
3-0 to Everton. I think Southampton, obviously they got that 0-0 draw with Burnley. Didn't look particularly good.
It wasn't the best game apparently.
I think a 2-0 win for Everton is on the cards there. Leicester Wolves. Bit of a Midlands affair.
Should be plenty of Wolves fans going, I'd have thought. First away game, local. I actually think Wolves will do it. I think the Wolves will win 2-1.
Thought Leicester were okay at Man United without really causing any problems. Manchester United just let Leicester play in front of them and not really getting the back lines. Leicester had some chances, but nothing of really of any note until very late on.
Jamie Vardy's face shot.
Yeah. I'm. That said, I think Leicester are more than capable of holding Wolves. Man for man, they're probably the better team, just about. Although it's a lot closer than it usually is for a recent Premier League champion and a recently promoted side. But I go Leicester 1-0. I think it won't be a goal fest, but
I think you're definitely tight. But yeah.
Tottenham v Fulham, Wembley beckons.
Yes, for more time than they thought with the stadium delay announcement.
Yeah.
But I actually think this will be quite tight. I think Fulham will keep it very, very. I think the scoreline very low. I think it'll be a 1-0 Tottenham, but it'll be a late goal to do it.
Okay. Well, I mean, Tottenham have they won quite easily last week. I think another good win's on the cards. I think 3-0 to Tottenham.
Mm-hmm.
West Ham Bournemouth.
I would actually expect West Ham to win this one. I think they'll bounce back from the game against Liverpool. I think their style it suits them in some respects. The way they're going to play is going to be open and expansive, and home games against Bournemouth are the kind of games where it's going to work. So I'm going to say 2-0.
I go 1-1. Yeah, I think West Ham will continue a very poor start, and I think they'll come to a point in October where there'll be lots of pressure for Moyes to go again. Pellegrini to go. Moyes to go. Moyes is gone. Pellegrini to go. I think it'll take him a long time to gel, and West Ham fans and board typically don't allow that kind of time. Maybe I'm wrong.
A lot of new players, but I just think they've got so many good players that.
Yeah, maybe too many though. Maybe
perhaps.
Too many players who want to play football, and not enough players who want to do the hard work that's necessary. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think a 1-1 for Saturday. Big tea time kick-off then, Chelsea-Arsenal.
Yes, interesting one. I'm annoyed I'm not going to watch it, actually, with Stoke being on. But it's a tricky one, because obviously Chelsea started off with a really good win, but I actually think Arsenal will win this. I think Arsenal will win 2-0.
That's quite brave. I think it's quite a safe victory for Chelsea. I think they've got the better team, and they played reasonably well against Huddersfield.
They did, but
Saturday, Arsenal just didn't against Man City.
I was actually fairly impressed with them a little in short bursts against Man City. Given who they were playing, I thought they had some really good moments, and I think against Chelsea, who still won't be fully firing under Sarri. I think they'll do it.
I'm still going to go for a 2-0 Chelsea win. Sarri knows how to do anything. It's play the Italian way and grind out victories against high quality opposition. I think he'll get one here, and Chelsea fans will start to believe that this could be their year before a few choice results in around winter time when the hard graft begins, and I think that's when it will start to not crumble but fall away a little bit. Into Sunday then, early kickoffs as a couple, because we had Europa League action for Burnley, who made it through. Well done to them, despite what I expected. Burnley-Watford.
Again, low scoring, tight game, 0-0. Honestly,
No, that'd be 2 0-0s in a row for Burnley. So
yeah,
I can't. I think that's going to be a Watford win. I think that'll be a 1-0 Watford win. Although it feels wrong to say it, so I'm going to stick with it. I've said it now, so I don't really believe it, but I'll go for that Watford win. Man City Huddersfield.
Well, you can't really put anything other than a Man City win at home. Just how many really? I don't think Huddersfield score. I think I'm going to go 3-0.
Okay. I saw a tweet from, I think it was Manchester City's account or someone's account, that said it was 1980s, I think late 80s, when Manchester City played Huddersfield. And Manchester City won, I think it was 12-1. And they had 3 players who scored hat-tricks. David White amongst them, so whatever era that was, I'm pretty sure that's late 80s. So it's entirely possible that could happen, but it seems unlikely. I'm going to go for a big win, though. I'm going to say that's a 5-0 home win.
It could easily be. I mean, I think it'll be just a case of Huddersfield trying to keep the score down. But if City score early, then it could really, the floodgates could really open. I do agree.
It's a tricky one.
I just think, yeah, it's hard to know how many to go for.
Yeah. Watch Huddersfield win now. And then the late kick off, the big Saturday game, or Sunday game rather, Brighton against United. That's Manchester United, for those who don't like just the word United. I'm one of those. Yes. So, yes, Brighton, Man United.
I think Manchester United will win. I think they'll win 2-0. Classic Mourinho.
Oh, you've come round, have you?
this week only, because Brighton were very poor against Watford last week, apparently.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that can help a team to focus. It can, it can really focus a team on getting a reaction. But that said, I think United. I'm going to go 1-0 to United. Just a Lukaku goal just to add an extra gloss. And then Monday Night Football, Crystal Palace against Liverpool. The Mamadou Sakho, Christian Benteke derby.
Yes, Palace Liverpool. It's always been a tricky place, Liverpool, in recent years, hasn't it? With the 3-3 and I think was it Balassi and Dwight Gale battered them in recent years. But it can't really go against Liverpool. I'm gonna say 3-1. They won't keep a clean sheet because I think Zaha is a bit too good, but 3-1 to Liverpool.
I'm going to go 2-2. Yeah, I think Zaha will get him out of trouble.
Yeah, and Liverpool do struggle to deal with Benteke in general.
Yeah, I think it'll throw up the same old questions about Liverpool in terms of defensive fragility on the road against lesser clubs.
It's definitely the kind of game that they have struggled with in the past.
Yeah. So that's, it's a tricky. Again, they're all difficult. I suppose that's why I haven't made millions from sports betting, because otherwise I'd be loaded.
You wouldn't be doing this.
Well, no, you don't. Don't assume. So yeah, those are. I think it's a difficult week for a lot of teams, and I think it's not a milestone week, and for a lot of teams, it's not going to be a case of we're in for a bad season if you go into week 3 with 2 defeats in 2, but it feels a long way back. I think if Fulham lose to Tottenham, which they probably will, it's a long way. It'll feel like an uphill. I can just imagine their fans going into the Craven Cottage, their players turning up for training, just feel like they're walking uphill. Walking through sludge. Equally so, Cardiff, that kind of thing. It really does start to drag. I think when you lose both your opening games and don't get off to a good start.
With Wolves, if they lose against Leicester and they got 1 point from 2 games when they play against Everton with 10 men, all of a sudden you're thinking, we walked the Championship and now we can't get wins against 2 of the teams in mid-table.
Yeah, I mean, just looking ahead, Wolves have got Manchester City next week, so
well, there you go.
That's an interesting clash, to say the least. Man United against Spurs, also that's in week 3.
Really fair, that game.
So it really is a case of, apart from probably Cardiff, anyone can beat anyone again in the Premier League. So happy days. Okay, so do pop your score predictions in as well and gloat if you get them all right, and let me know what payout you got if you did have a bet on all 10 and you got all 10 right. I'm sure you'll be extremely rich.
Quite a payout.
And happy days. So, yeah, I won't be putting a bet on because, as last week proved, it's a waste of time and money. Just even loading up the app. So, yeah, do pop your predictions in there. Any football questions, of course, as well. We try and record this. Every episode should really be recorded on the Friday. I don't think Stoke will ever be playing on a Friday. So, apart from maybe Good Friday, I don't know what the Championship deal is around Easter. But we've got many months to go before we get to that point.
We'll plan.
We'll all be we'll be through Christmas by then. We'll all be.
Yeah, we'll be
one Christmas older. Well, yeah. League Cup will be won. We'll be in Europe. They're going on a European adventure again. But yeah, do pop any questions as well in there and any comments. Much appreciated. I'll respond to them all personally as soon as I possibly can. And subscribe as well. And do pop a like on there. It's been another good week.
It does.
Yeah. Let's hope for some good football. I'm going to say the highest scoring game. This isn't part of the predictions, but I'm going to say the highest scoring game of the week is going to be... This will go again. I've completely forgotten my predictions. So I'm going to go Man City Huddersfield because I'm pretty sure I said 5-0. So
You did. Yeah, so that would be the highest scoring one.
Yeah.
I can't remember what I said.
Yeah. I was just waiting for me to say, high scoring game, a game that I'd easily just said 0-0. I think if you're picking your fantasy captain, take De Bruyne out. That's your starting point. And probably put take Son Heung-min out as well because he's gone to play an Asian Cup. So
I would go. That's that news.
Yeah, he's disappeared. He's got to win it as well. Apparently, they need to win it. South Korea do because otherwise he's got to do military service for 2 years. So if that's not an incentive, I don't know what is. I think your best scoring player this week for me, if you're picking your fantasy players, Hazard. Called it.
So I don't think you can look back past Aguero.
Nah, be injured. Anyway, thanks very much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure. And we'll see you again next week. Goodbye.
Bye.